Marcellus,
yes, sir.
Start with you. Is Eli Manning's benching another sign the NFL is moving away from the pocket passer?
Absolutely. And I want to highlight another sign because we've seen signs of this progression over the years. If you go back and watch how the NFL has changed its position from the scrambling quarterback to the mobile quarterback to now the 2.0 quarterback. Damn, these quarterbacks just want to be normal. That's the fight for equality, just to be normal, you know? And they always got to have this asterisk by them, this other line column for them. But it's evolved. Now, if you look at the NFL today and what happened to Eli Manning, I always wondered this as a former defender when I used to see guys go out there and want to really focus in on just their throwing abilities and being in the pocket. When, as a defender, it was much scarier to see a guy who was a dual threat. So you should see that now mature into even the 1.0 quarterbacks that have had tremendous success are getting phased out. So, yeah, the advancements in thinking, technology, and the position has us going forward. But let's be real. There's still nostalgia from when we were impressionable youngsters out there. These GMs, these coaches hold on to these 1.0s as long as they can. The game's changed. Sooner than later,
absolutely,
we're going to see all 2.0s.
Yeah, yep. And I think this is more of a sign that this is what the new generation of QBs look like because in college football, every QB can scramble. Every QB takes off and runs. Even Tua in Alabama, who I consider to be probably the most pocket passer out of all the quarterbacks, he will take off and run. He will scramble and extend plays with his legs. Trevor Lawrence, who is, the football god to quarterbacks now in college football, he's doing RPOs now, right? He's getting involved in running the football as well. So the first time Daniel Jones takes off and runs, the whole stadium is going to get up and applause. This is something they have never had. They have never had it. And so when he takes off and runs and extends a play with his legs, or they're going to be like, damn, that's kind of nice. Like, this is actually, this is different, right? Exactly. And so we all get old at some point, right? And it's just part of the process. But, again, I just think this is what all the generation quarterbacks look like now.
You're right. I think this is the new National Football League. When you look at these quarterbacks, I remember back to coming into the league in 2001, and there was Jeff George. And now you're just watching how this progression has happened to where we are today. But I think you got to also look in the college game. The game's changed. Yeah. The college game, these quarterbacks are now running these systems of RPOs and throwing the ball and involving their whole offensive football team. And the National Football League is starting to do some of that. And so when you look around, these guys that are playing, and they're able to not just play in college, they're able to come in first year and be able to play in the National Football League because of those concepts that are now being run in the National Football League. So I think it's just a natural progression that's happening.
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Sometimes that's my job. I think, Hugh, for the whole group, I think college is having an amazing influence, but I think also the NFL has changed in terms of the lack of patience. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the gold standard at quarterback for the next 15 years. He's going to be a traditional pocket guy that may move around just a little bit to throw the ball. But what has happened in the NFL, the reason why I think we're seeing so many of the 2.0s, as you call it, Marcellus, is nobody develops a quarterback anymore. Nobody does what the Chiefs did with Patrick. You just sit down here and watch Alex Smith.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, you just sit here and watch Brett Favre for 2 or 3 years. Teams now want to get that quarterback, particularly a high draft pick, on the field as soon as possible. And the quickest way to do that is to run an offense they're familiar with from the college game.
Absolutely. You have to give that guy an opportunity to be successful. And the only way that you can do that is to have some of the concepts that he's dealt with in college come into the pro game.
Well, let's talk about that element, but let's also talk about the stigma that came with being a mobile, scrambling 2.0 quarterback. And part of that was leadership in the early years when you were talking about the black quarterback. Let's just not paraphrase everything. And then that turned, and Doug Williams won the Super Bowl, and you started to see that chip away. And then even the great Steve Young wasn't a fully appreciated asset in the beginning because he was a scrambling quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I remember that analysis. I was like, what are they talking about? The guy could do both. Then it came to Michael Vick, and that's when things changed for the better and a little for the worse. Michael Vick was the first overall pick. Michael Vick had a team buy all into the 2.0 quarterback and construct a roster for him. Michael Vick, being a pioneer, there's a responsibility of being a pioneer because if you don't fully succeed, the door will close behind you.
Absolutely.
Watch what happened with Michael Vick. Balling out of control on the field, played against, good Lord, he was next level. But then the off-the-field issues and, more importantly, him not being studious through his own admission made people say, let's pause. What was the effect of that? Start hearing guys like Donovan McNabb. Start hearing guys like even recently Deshaun Watson come out. I want to be a pure pocket passer. Because they knew how it would land mentally in the NFL instead of physically on the field. I'm looking at these dudes like, you're going to take away one of your strongest attributes just because it lands better in perception. So that Mike Vick experience was a beautiful thing, but it also gave other guys pause.
I'm not sure, though, it's all perception, though. Because I can't remember who it was that cracked the joke. Maybe it was Rex Ryan this week. You never hear about an old running quarterback.
Mark Sheriff said it on our show.
You never hear about an old running
Randall
quarterback.
Cunningham.
Right. And so I think a lot of guys just out of like, I want to have a long career. I want to make as much money as I possibly can. And when 13 of the last 18 Super Bowls have been won by guys that play from the pocket, it's a successful strategy.
I got to push back on that real quick. If all that is available are pure pocket passers, guess who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Pocket passers.
Pocket passers. I mean, it's just
That's not all
cooking the
that's been
books.
available,
It's
though.
cooking the books right there when they do that. I just had to say that.
And the narrative that if I take off and run, I'm going to get injured, as opposed to just staying in a pocket, I'm not going to get injured. It's not true because Big Ben, who I just asked you about, gets injured. And is now injured, is going to miss the whole season. So I think that narrative is also flying out the door as well.
Reggie, the lifespan of a running back is one of the shortest in the NFL because they take so many hits running the ball. You don't want your quarterback in that Lions den.
But look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson does a great job taking off and running, and he gets down. He doesn't take hits. That's why Cam Newton is dealing with these injuries, because he's trying to run linebackers over. He's trying to run safeties over. Get down. You cannot survive in the NFL when you're trying to take on people bigger than you or just as big as you.
There's only so many hits that your body has. There's only so many.
And there's an acumen that comes from being a pure pocket passer, tight windows to throw a guy open, leading, knowing the coverage. There's also acumen to being a 2.0 quarterback, when to get down, when to use the sideline as your friend, and situations like that. Look at today's NFL. As you said, 13 of the last 18 Super Bowls have been won by a pocket passer. You know, 6 of them by one guy, right? We cooking all these books. Here's the thing. Of the 32 starters in the NFL, I have calculated easily 15 2.0 quarterbacks. Look at that list right there. And this is all complexions, all likenesses, all backgrounds. Don't let the paint job fool you. Josh Allen has had 4 games over 95-plus yards rushing. And that's up there in Buffalo. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson, etc. You see the list. And there were 2 guys I left off who were borderline, not because they couldn't, but they just don't elect to. So the point is, we're going to see the Super Bowl winners change. We're going to see the position change. And if you ever go to a Pop Warner game or a high school level game, coaches are now saying, who wants to be receiver? And everyone raised their hand. And then he says, now who can throw out of that? That's the position to play, brother.
I just want that list. And again, I'm not dissing any of those guys. But again, I said in my essay, Sir Martin Frobisher brought back thousands of tons of fool's gold. And it took England a long time to figure out this is fool's gold.
That's my list.
And so to that list starts showing up with Super Bowl rings and MVP trophies like Patrick Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers has one. Russell Wilson has one.
Might be
Cam got an MVP.
That might be Sir Martin Frobisher's fool's gold again. I'm just let's see how it plays out. But hey, quickly, Eli Manning, is he a Hall of Famer?
You know my criteria. Are you better than the worst dude in the Hall of Fame? Damn right, Eli is. No, in all respect, you got. That's why I ain't a Hall of Famer. They can use me. I say yes. You're a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Absolutely.
You can't take that away.
500 record.
I know what we're going to say. All other years, no playoff wins. But 2 times, something your brother didn't even do. Something that, respect to Kurt Warner and his greatness, but Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame, and some question the fullness of that body of work. I don't, and I don't with Eli Manning as well.
Kurt Warner MVP.
Yeah, two-time Super Bowl MVP.
I get it. Kurt Warner MVP of the whole league.
Well,
didn't deserve it. Marshall Faulk should have got that second. But anyway, go ahead.
For me, it's a lot. For me, it's a lot.
No, I agree. I think he's a Hall of Famer, no question. I mean, again, the guy was he's been top 10 in his career in completions and yards and so many other different things. So you're talking about a guy that's won Super Bowls, two-time MVP of the biggest game in the National Football League. And he's done it at a high level, obviously. But that's the question. Is he a Hall of Fame player? Yes, he is. No doubt.
But it's also who he beat.
Yes.
In the Super Bowl.
Go ahead.
It's Tom Brady. It's the great Patriots.
Absolutely.
The 16-0 season that they had when people viewed them as unbeatable, right? It's who he beat. It's perception. So to me, it's not only the MVPs, but it's also who he beat, the Super Bowls, and his brother's Peyton Manning. He got all the perfect recipe to get into the Hall of Fame.
And all the pushback on Terrell Owens and Antonio Brown is, what kind of citizen is he?
Yeah.
Well, this is a model citizen, model teammate, and was a franchise player, so you can't take anything away.
As I'm prone to do, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Twice? That's great. That's great.
Huh?
But nothing else says MVP to me. I mean, says Hall of Fame lock to me. Look, I get he led a team to 2 Super Bowls. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. He's from New York.
Yep.
The standards are so low for New York players that helps you get into the Hall of Fame tremendously. Look, Joe Namath had a losing record in the regular season. Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame because he guaranteed that Super Bowl and what that guaranteed meant to the NFL. Get it. Eli, to me, not a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Woo!
I would put him in the Hall of Fame, perhaps, but first ballot, I just wouldn't do it.
I could see not first ballot Hall of Fame.
Both of y'all ain't using your eyes if you can see that. Because let me tell you this. Can you watch a Super Bowl highlight reel without it showing multiple Eli Manning plays? And that's the biggest game.
Yep. Well, it depends on how you define it. I define one of them as a David Tyree play, but Eli would be mentioned as well.
Oh, you think? He'd do them all. Mario Manningham. Like, y'all forgetting these plays? No, the guy is bona fide and he's first ballot. And most important stat of all, second highest paid in NFL history. Come on, man. Give that boy love.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.